What is going on, guys? Welcome back to episode number 59 of Talking ATL Hawks. Again, I'm with the most beautiful crew, the twins, Chase and Andrew Jefferson. And fellas, we are just 3 days away from the best day of the month, Christmas. How are we feeling?
I mean, like you said yourself, John. I mean, this is the best time of the year, man. I mean, you hear it in every Christmas song, and there is
Yeah,
no lie in that. And the one thing I ask for this Christmas, if I could have one thing at all, is I'm just praying that the Hawks can head into Christmas above 500. Please just win Tuesday night and give us something to be. Let us be excited going to Christmas break. I mean, we're about to get into it. I'm just gonna say that it's such a shame to
yeah.
see so much offensive talent be hand in hand with such little defensive talent. I mean, you should never drop 150 and lose a game. And we're the first team in NBA history to do that in back-to-back seasons. And that's just abysmal. Like, you don't want that to your resume at all. But I mean, I think this just adds to the list of reasons why the Hawks are unfortunately the most mid franchise in NBA history.
I
And the
don't
numbers don't lie. We are quite literally the definition of mid.
I don't want to say hand to hand with a lack of defensive talent. I think the talent is there on the team. I think the problem that lies in this team is urgency. I think we just play with no defensive urgency. But we see bits and pieces game after game that tells me that the talent is definitely there. But the urgency is not. It's certainly not. And I don't like this zone defense that Quinn Snyder has his team playing in the last 3 games because the same point of attack has come to bite us night after night after night. And I'm just sitting here looking at Quinn like when is enough enough? Like, when is it enough to put this zone defense to rest? But we'll get into that later. John, how you feeling?
I have not had the best weekend. My Packers had a chance to quit.
Ooh, ooh,
My
ooh, ooh.
My Packers had
John.
a 99.9% chance to clinch. We're not clinch the division yet, but we would have controlled our own destiny to clinch the division and make the playoffs. But now we need. But now we need. Actually, we need to win one game and we're in. But
John, man.
beating the Bears, that just would have made things a little extra sweeter. But unfortunately, the injury bug keep biting the Packers. Another tight end went down with an Achilles injury.
Jordan Love had a scare on
Yeah,
He
Saturday.
got a concussion.
Jordan Love went out with a concussion, so he's in concussion protocol now.
John, I can't believe we haven't even talked about that yet, man. Like y'all lost in one of the most like dramatic ways possible. We haven't even talked about that
I
yet.
don't want to relive it. I already try to wipe it. I already tried to wipe that bad game out of my head.
You're
And then
lucky
this
this isn't
morning,
a Packers podcast, or then we'd have to talk about it.
yeah. Also, like, if I, I'm also like, if it sound funny, I just got a tooth thing, a crown in, a tooth crown in this morning because I'm gonna be
Hey,
honest, I haven't been brushing my teeth, so I have a cavity. So
Hey,
hey,
I
hey,
do the same thing.
happens to the best of
I
us,
had to do
man.
the same thing whenever I knocked my tooth out.
yeah,
I chipped one of my teeth and they had
Oh,
to put a crown in. So I know how that feels, John.
yeah. I used to that's when I was feeling like a squirrel, with my cheek all puffed up. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I'm doing great, getting to watch some Hawks basketball with y'all, and just right after the Christmas season.
Well said. Well said. Well,
But
yeah, you can go get right into that
with all
start.
that being said, it's time for our star bench cut. And for the past several games, we've been missing a key player that we traded for back in the day before the draft. We've been missing Kristaps Porzingis, the unicorn. Yes, the unicorn, Andrew. Um,
Rainbows don't exist. Unicorns don't exist. I don't
so I
think.
think it's about the time to where we discuss trade options for him. So,
nice.
I found this. I found three. Coincidentally enough, I found three. I found this link that had exactly three trade ideas for Kristaps Porzingis for what the Hawks could do. and I can tell one of y'all is not gonna like. Let's get into it.
Uh-oh.
The first one is it's to the Nets. And it involves Kristaps Porzingis, Mo Gay, Luke Kennard, a 2029 first round pick for MPJ, Dayron Sharp, and Tyrese Martin. Now,
MPJ.
we know that Trae Young we know that Michael Porter Jr. and Trae Young do have some chemistry
They do.
From the high school basketball days. So that
They
would
do.
be huge. That would be huge getting them to play along Trae Young.
Sign me.
But also I don't know what we would do for our big situation because we would be getting rid of two bigs in Mo Gay and Kristaps Porzingis.
I do like Mo, so that would be a tough walk.
Yeah. So the second one, and this is a trade that one of you wasn't going to like. It involves Kristaps Porzingis, Keaton Wallace.
Nope. I'm out.
A 2029 second rounder for Contavious Caldwell-Pope, Scottie Pippen Jr. See what I did there? I paused. And said Scottie.
I'm about to say Scottie Pippen coming back already.
Yeah. Scottie Pippen Jr. and then Vince Williams. So and then the last one.
Aside from the Keaton Wallace stuff, just in general, like if I wanted such a Keaton Wallace Glazer, I don't even like that trade, to be honest with you.
It's not awful.
And the last one, this one's a decent trade. It's Kristaps Porzingis, a 2029 first rounder, top 5 protected. I'm gonna forget who it's going to. It's going to the Bucks. Miles Turner.
Just Miles Turner?
Yes.
Oh, that might be worth it.
Wait, Kristaps in our next year unprotected?
2029.
2029 first rounder.
I thought you said
first 2029 first rounder, top 5 protected.
I thought you said 2026. I was like,
no,
wait a minute.
No, 2029.
Okay. I got you. Ooh.
I don't know if it.
That might be worth it. Miles Turner would definitely get the.
My bad. My fault. It does also involve Gary Trent Jr. My bad.
Can you
Trent Jr. as well?
Can you go through that second trade option again?
Second trade option here. Here, I'm going to pull up on the site real quick, just so I make sure I have everything. The second trade option was the Hawks would get KCP, Scottie Pippen Jr., Vince Williams Jr. for Kristaps Porzingis, Keaton Wallace, a 2029 second round pick, and a 2032 second round pick. Yeah. So
okay,
we get some trade capital back in that second trade. I know which one I like the most for sure. I'm trying to figure out if I need where I need to put the others in my mind. I think I got it though. I think I got it.
I think I got mine. I got my order.
Okay, well, Andrew, you decided first, so you can go first.
Easily gonna start the first trade you mentioned with the Brooklyn Nets, shifting off Kristaps Porzingis, Mohamed Gay, and I know it's a little bit of a question mark in terms of what's going to happen to our interior defense because we opened up the episode already talking about how lackluster this defense is in terms of urgency, and scoring inside has been a part of that. Teams we've been playing as of late have done way too easy of a job getting to the rim and not really having too much contest on it. So that would be a big factor, and we'd have to figure out what we're going to do inside the paint when we're on the defensive end of this court. But in terms of just raw talent, I mean, MPJ has showcased taking himself out of the realm of Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, that he can be a star-studded player by himself. And if you give him that scoring option with Jalen Johnson and Trae Young, I mean, you talk about the assist total that Trae Young will reach, he would easily surpass his career high because of how many lethal weapons he'd have to dish it to. And who's to say MPJ doesn't have much to offer when it comes to interior defense? I think he certainly does. But what really excites me about that trade is how well MPJ guards the perimeter. And once we get in touch with the Chicago Bull game, really the Charlotte Hornet game too. We're gonna hone in on how awful the Hawks perimeter defense is and how there really is no urgency in closing out. And I feel like MPJ would definitely help with that alongside Dyson Daniels, and that starting five would be gross. So yeah, give me a guy like MPJ. Secondly, I'm gonna bench the second trade you said. I just feel like that one doesn't excite me enough. The only leaning factor I have on that trade is the fact that we get a little bit of draft capital back, but I just don't see the point. And I feel like essentially what the Hawks are doing are shifting, giving away Chris Porzingis, who doesn't play anymore, Keaton Wallace, and just a bunch of other bench gems, shifting that over and getting just a few bench gems ourselves back. Now, I feel like Scottie Pippen Jr. is probably the most exciting part about that trade because I feel like there's a lot of upside to his game. I just don't think a guy like Scottie Pippen Jr. would mesh well with this team because I feel like in order for him to reach his full potential, he's going to have to go kind of like the MPJ route. And I feel like fitting him in with this Hawks roster is not going to do enough for him. Although I will say, again, he probably would help us a little bit more defensively. But wait, I'm sorry. I said that wrong. That's the one I like the least. I'm sorry. I forgot what I was doing here.
Oh
Sorry.
yeah, no. I mean, yeah, no, I thought you were going crazy.
I did too.
One
No, I'm
trade
sorry.
Keaton Wallace
Yeah,
that go that quickly.
I was
I
looking
forgot
at you
what
all crazy,
I
dog.
forgot what I was doing there. So that one's actually my third. I'm sorry. Secondly, I'm going the Miles Turner trade because I mean we all watched the finals last year against the OKC Thunder, and honestly, just the entire Pacers run in and of itself and how well Miles Turner really added that interior defense. He was really SGA's kryptonite that entire series, and partially some reason why SGA's lowest scoring numbers that year came in the NBA Finals just because of how much trouble SGA was scoring on the inside because he couldn't get to the rim without some sort of harsh contact that Miles Turner was able to possess. And he's a great rebounder. And he's a great scorer on the inside. And I will say, do not underestimate Miles Turner post because Miles Turner, got to be honest, he shows a little bit shades of Karl Anthony Towns when he's in the post. That's something I've noticed in that finals as well. Obviously, he's on Milwaukee Bucks now. He's been doing decent things at Milwaukee, not as exciting as what he was at Indiana, but I think that's because he's playing lesser of a role in Milwaukee. But good Lord, the Hawks can get their hands on Miles Turner. That would fluctuate the interior defense so much. That would also help the rebounding numbers, and the Hawks aren't losing anything. We're losing a top 5 protected pick years down the road that who knows, we could end up getting back through another route eventually, maybe in the Trae Young trade talks if that happens somewhere down the road. So we're not essentially losing much because we're getting them a guy that hardly plays anymore. So it is only benefiting the Hawks in so many different ways. So yes, that is my list right there.
Okay. We agree on the most part, Andrew, except for one thing. And I think in the last 2 minutes of your speech, you just proved my point. You got to start that very last trade John mentioned with the Milwaukee Bucks. That is hands down the best offer we could get. Because, like you said, we're losing Kristaps and a 2029 unprotected top 5 pick, like you said, years down the road. I'm glad you mentioned it. I was going to bring it up too, that we could eventually get back in that realm through other routes. And I was also going to mention if we ditch Trae Young, that could be an open door back into future top picks in the draft. But the biggest thing for me is, like you said, Miles Turner, just in general, will definitely boost his interior defense. He's a great rebounder, a better rebound than Kristaps, better rebounder than Kristaps is, and rebounding has been a major issue, including offensive rebounding. He's a huge offensive rebounder. Was in Indiana, is in Milwaukee. He creates a lot of second chance points. And that's something the Hawks don't ever have in an NBA game this year that we could definitely use. Last night was a very big prime example. So that could be a big plus. And then but the big thing for me is, so we're gaining a big man. I know we're losing Kristaps Porzingis, but for all being honest, it's felt like we haven't had Kristaps all year. So it's like we're essentially losing nothing, but we're keeping Muhammad Gay, and that's what I don't like about the trade with the Brooklyn Nets. Because I understand MPJ. I think you're right, Andrew. He can help with perimeter defense. That's all going to be in the hands of Quinn Snyder as long as he keeps running this zone defense, and MPJ is going to be put in a box like everybody else. Because you were right. I didn't mean there's no defensive talent on this team. But like you said, there's no urgency, and they're all put in a box by this defensive system that Clint Snyder has his team running. And I love Clint Snyder. I still think he's a top coach in the league. He just doesn't have this defense figured out. It's still young in the year, so I'm not hitting the panic button yet. But he does have limited time to fix his defense, put it on track, so we can make sure we are a top 5 seed in the East come playoff time. But losing Muhammad Gay would be detrimental to us defensively and even offensively in terms of big man scoring, because we're losing that with Kristaps not getting any minutes. And I love the package we're getting, but I don't think it equates to the problem we're going to have in terms of big men. I mean, there's not really any option we could have unless we make another trade for a big man, or unless we pull like Malik Williams or Dante to fly off of the Skyhawks, which
Which we could easily do.
still wouldn't be great, and Muhammad Gay doesn't really fill the void. So that's my only worry. If we didn't have to lose Muhammad Gay, then I probably would put that number one. But you're absolutely right, Andrew. The Grizzlies trade, I have to put last. I think the only upside to that is I love Scottie Pippen Jr. mainly for his defense. He's just like a lesser version of Dyson Daniels, but he is a steel machine. I imagine him and Dyson on the court. Our backcourt defense would be absolutely phenomenal. Nobody could get across half court with them two on the court together, but he'd be coming off the bench. His minutes won't be that great anyway, just because of who we have on the roster. I'm I know you don't like the trade, quote unquote, because of Keaton Wallace, but Keaton Wallace has just really progressively played such a minimal role on the Atlanta Hawks. I kind of feel like it's progressing for him, progressing towards the direction of Keaton Wallace leaving the team anyway.
Chase, y'all live together. Y'all live together. I wouldn't keep. I won't keep crapping on Keaton because he knows where your room is.
You
Hey,
don't know
hey,
Paul.
I
You don't
can,
know Paul.
we might
You don't
witness
see
something that we
talent.
don't
You don't
want.
know talent when you see it, and
I
that's
can,
okay.
I can just sense Andrew cringing as I'm speaking, but I think we're being honest. The signs are all pointing to Keaton Wallace getting the boot anyway. I think we.
Sorry, were you saying something? I suggest
Yeah,
you move on. I suggest
yeah.
you move on.
What I was saying was, God, I love Keaton Wallace. He's literally the savior of this team, and we
I knew
better
you were
not touch
buffering.
him. We better not touch him with a 10-foot pole. That's all.
I knew your phone was just buffering.
Yeah,
I
yeah. See, the Wi-Fi's not the best. It's a little bit of a gloomy day. It's cold. It's messing with my internet connection, so it might have mixed up my words. But yeah, Keaton Wallace, I would make him the franchise guy now, and I would get rid of everybody else.
Thank you. Thank you.
John,
I'm
what
so
do you
glad
have
you
to say?
took your words there.
You know what? I agree with one of you guys right down the board.
It's me. I already know.
Yeah, yeah, it's Chase. It's Chase.
Bang.
I just think not only do I think that the trade works out, I think that we fleece the Bucks with this
We
trade
do. We do.
because I mean, here's the thing: we don't necessarily need a scoring big like Kristaps. We just need a guy that plays defense and grabs rebounds, and that's exactly what Miles Turner does. Because we got guys like Onega Kongu off the bench who can score
Yep.
just fine. And we're also getting a good bench piece in Gary Trent Jr. off the bench as well.
He's a great shooter. I mean, look,
so that's my reason why I'm starting Gary Trent. Why I want
Oh yeah.
this Bucks trade to happen first. Second, for the Nets trade, I mean,
I was going to say, John, just to your point real quick, if you remember that first round series last year between the Bucks and the Pacers, Gary Trent Jr. was arguably the best player in that entire series for Milwaukee. Yeah. Not even Giannis, because Gary Trent Jr. was lights out in that series, man. Yeah. Sorry, proceed. I was just saying, Gary Trent Jr.
You're good. Good point. Um, but I mean, like, also, like, the reason why I'm benching this Nets trade is because, like, I'm not ready to give up on Luke Kennard just yet. I know that Vit is becoming what we Luke Kennard hoped would be, which is great. Which is great. Um, I mean, but you gotta like think about it this way: like, Vit's been with the Hawks like longer than Lucas. He knows Quinn's system. He knows how he can fit in. I feel like Luke Kennard is still trying to find his role, and it's been hard with Trae Young out for so long because Trae Young is that guy. Trae Young is the guy that recruited Luke Kennard to the Hawks, and also, also like we know how well of a passer Trae Young is. He can get guys like Vit, Nah, and Luke Kennard set up in the corner for some easy corner threes. So like I was like, I just think that we need to see more of Luke Kennard and Trae Young together to decide whether or not we want to trade Luke Kennard. So for me personally, I'm not necessarily ready to give up on Luke Kennard yet. But also, also not only are we giving away KP, we're also giving away Mo Gay, and like that's two bigs that we're giving away. The
Yeah.
only big that we're getting back is Dayron Sharp, which I mean I don't know much about him, but I mean like um I mean yeah like to my knowledge, the only big that we have on the bench really is him it's him Kongwu. So yeah.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons, like the Grizzlies thing. I mean, for obvious, for obvious reasons, there's the Grizzlies thing I'm betting last because we're trading the Goat Keaton Wallace um for some guys that aren't really that good. So yeah, that's my prediction.
I do like you said, like the comparison you made about Veet's situation, Luke Kennard's situation. Because, like you said, like when Veet first joined the team, I mean, we didn't really know what he was about. His first stint with the Hawks, or his first moments with the Hawks, we didn't really know what his role was going to be, how he was going to fit, if he even was going to fit, if he was a short term guy or a long term guy. And it didn't take long for Veet to find his role. And now he's the most lethal shooter we have off the bench. And I think you're right, John. I think all he just needs to spend one night alone with Kyle Korver, spin it in the gym, let Kyle Korver keep him a finger or two, and then bam, you got your next Kyle Korver. I mean, Kyle Korver's in his back pocket. I mean, all he has to do is say the word, and the Thorzeus is there, or hot sauce, whatever you want to call him. So, but I think you're right. I'm not giving up on him quite yet. And I know you're not either, Andrew. But give him time permitted. I think Luke Kennard can be.
I'm gonna pray we don't get copyrighted. But repeat what you just said about Kyle Korver and Luke Kennard. Repeat that real quick.
Which part they need to spend one night together? Yo, hey, yo. Hey, if we get copyrighted, that's absolutely worth it. No shame whatsoever. YouTube, I dare you to copyright us. That is
Everybody,
perfect.
everybody here has thought about spending a night with Kyle Korver. Everybody here.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I am proud of it.
Let's be honest, man.
His wife,
Everybody lays in their bed, puts their headphones in, and listens to Bob Rathbun call his 11 points in 1 minute. And it's just,
Guys, just this morning or yesterday, I posted this thing that said like I'm on my story that said like I call Corver heat check would solve everything in the world right now. I posted it on my story.
hey, you
not
know
really.
what? And I gotta be honest, during shoot around, I do have to admit, I found Kyle Korver. He was in a nice green suit with hand in his pockets, and I saw his backside. And I probably stared at him a little longer than I should have.
Happens to the best of us,
Happens
man.
to the best of us, man.
We're all weak, but we probably do need to get into some Hawks basketball because
Yeah.
we're about 25 minutes of this episode already.
Yeah.
Let's
We'll
get
make
down
this
to
nice.
business.
We'll make this short and sweet. I mean, because like it's just a bunch of losses we took.
We went over this week.
I mean, guys, to spoil the podcast for y'all, we did not win. We did not win a single game. Two of them were pretty winnable in my eyes, but
Brutal month of December for Hawks basketball.
yeah. So the first game was Trae Young's first game back actually.
Absolutely.
From his injury, he was on a minutes restriction, which I didn't realize until the game was over when they told me. I was asking why he only played 20 minutes, and he also told me because he was on a minutes restriction. Um,
Indeed.
um, uh, uh, um, um, uh, 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 um, uh, I was also tuning into the game kind of like because I was because I was at a friend's house decorating a gingerbread house.
Yeah, he was.
Um,
Yeah, he was.
so yeah, so we lost this game, 133 to 126. Um, and basically this is basically in my eyes this was LaMelo Ball's Charlotte don't you dare trade me game because he went stupid. He finished with 28 points, 13 assists, 8 for 11 from three. Um, Talkin, which rookie of the year at this point. Rookie of the year at this point. I mean, like
It's either going to be him or Derek Queen. I mean, or I mean Cooper Flag. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disrespect Cooper Flag, but
don't you dare put that disrespectful Nola boy.
You're right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't
We
even.
will see him on the 7th of January.
Yeah,
First Hawks game, the first Hawks game of 2020. Well, first Hawks home game of 2026. I will be in the building. I don't know if y'all bought your tickets yet, but I will be in the building.
We will. We will be in the building.
Oh, sweet! I'll buy your tickets. Sweet.
So it's gonna be So us three will be in the building. We got to
What
figure out where
section?
you're. Yeah.
You
Sorry.
don't know?
Go ahead.
Like,
Keep.
what
Yeah.
section? Okay.
That's what I was gonna say. We actually I can't remember what section we got.
Okay, that's fine.
We'll talk about it after the game.
Yeah.
We'll see how close we are.
Yeah. Yeah. So Connor Knible finished with 28 points, 6 for 12 from three, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. Brandon Miller, 26 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds. Um, the bench didn't really do much, but but I mean, when three when 3/5 of your starters are playing like that, I mean, the bench doesn't really need to do much, but for the Hawks stats, I believe this was the game that broke Jalen Johnson's triple double streak.
One
Yeah,
assist short.
so Jalen Johnson lost his triple double streak. He still finished with the double double though. Finished
Yeah.
with 43, and this is also Jalen Johnson's birthday too. So happy late birthday to Jalen. Sorry that they couldn't get the win for you, but I mean, hey, so he's still had a game.
That was a monster performance from Jalen.
43 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists, 4 for 9 from three. Zachary had a quiet game with 5 points, 3 rebounds. Dyson had 14 points, 6 for 12 from the field, 6 assists, and a steal. Congo had 3 steals, by the way, 12 points, 4 rebounds. Trae Young in his return back from injury. Again, want to reiterate, he was on an injury management or I'm sorry, minutes restriction. Minutes restriction. That's the right term. Minutes restriction. So he can play 20 minutes, which is fine. But he still had a game that I expect him to have.
He was
8 points, 10 assists, which I love that. I love to see him do that. And then our bench, Nikhil Alexander-Walker back on the bench. Doing what he's doing. 28 points, not too shabby.
He still got a lot of minutes coming off the bench. He pretty much got starting minutes off the bench.
That's not necessarily surprising considering Trae was on a minutes restriction. Someone had to fill in that point guard spot that he wasn't playing. So, but yeah, so yeah, no KP for this game, and then Keaton Wallace should not play for coach's decision. But yeah, I guess what were your thoughts on this game?
I I put this game down to one sentence right here. If I had to say one sentence to put this game down to, it's this game was the Hawks shot making versus their shot provision. And the score is going to tell you all about who lost that battle, and it was the Atlanta Hawks. Because I'm just going to get into the what went wrong. This game was full of more wrongs than it was rights, which is really sad to say because there also was a lot of rights in this game. But it comes down to this. You simply cannot survive giving up 18 3-pointers in a single half. Charlotte, this was their legacy game in terms of NBA record books. They tied the NBA and their franchise record with 18 threes in the opening 24 minutes. And you said
Yeah,
it,
that's
John.
that's crazy. You're definitely not winning a game when that happens to you.
Yeah, and you said it, John. LaMelo Ball went 7 for 9 from deep in the first half. He had 7 of their 18 first half threes, and many of them were contested or at least a little bit lightly challenged. And this game also opened my eyes to how much, I guess, mutual, I don't want to say mutual beef, but LaMelo Ball definitely plays with an extra bit of a little extra chip on his shoulder whenever he's going up against his former Chino Hill teammate Onyeka Okongwu, because he made this game personal. And believe me, he let Okongwu know about it every single time he scored the ball, which he balled out. I mean, I can't even be mad at it. He balled out. He did his thing. And the Hawks were part to blame. I mean, I know I said that some of the shots were contested or at least a little bit lightly contested, but the Hawks, for the most part, their perimeter defense, it was late get closing out. It was disorganized, didn't know where guys were on the court at certain times, and that led to shots being very often uncontested. And that, like I said, it goes to late closeouts. Sometimes we overhelped off of shooters, and most of the time it was just poor communication in transition. And if you wonder how the Hornets finished from the 3-point line, they end up shooting 24 threes in the game. They went 24 for 49, and that's almost 50%. And there's going to be no scheme that's going to survive that threat. And I'm just going to say this right here, and I'll throw it over to Chase because I know Chase is kind of going to get into a little bit more of what the Hawks did. But I just want to keep talking about the Hornets and how they outplayed the Hawks, because once Charlotte saw the ball go in early, it became contagious. And I think that's part of the reason why this game got so out of hand so quick and why the Hawks found themselves always fighting to get back in the game for the other 3 quarters, because we let the Hornets' confidence snowball in this game. Concanuple, 28 points off 6 threes. Brandon Miller, 26 points off 4 threes. LaMelo Ball, 28 points, 13 assists in just 29 minutes. And you notice that Atlanta not one single point in this game did Atlanta truly disrupt their rhythm. There was no extended run to get those defensive stops. There's no physical response. And you never saw Quinn Snyder make a real adjustment that slowed the Hornet shooters. And that's been my biggest flaw with Quinn Snyder, because I feel like he has the brain power to be a top 3 coach in this league, but I don't like how he rotates our players in and out. And I don't like the zone defense that he's been running for the last 4 or 5 games, because it snowballs. It lets teams' confidence be able to build up and snowball like it did in this game right here.
I do have to disagree with you. I actually don't have any problem at all with how Quinn Snyder rotates our players. I actually think he does that very strategically. My only thing about Quinn Snyder, I mean, he had no mystery. He has his offense down to a T. But it's just like we mentioned at the start of the podcast, defensive issues. It's his perimeter defense that he can't seem to uh, stop running, because it's just not working. It's not that he's not doing it well. He is. It's just not working. We don't need to do it every single defensive possession. I think that's evident how many threes we give a game, or most notably, just how many uncontested threes we give up a game. Like was a big problem in Charlotte. I know you mentioned a lot of LaMelo's threes were contested, but everybody else were practically uncontested, especially Concanuple. For a guy who's one of the leading rookie years, is one of the most lethal 3-point shooters in the Eastern Conference, to give him the amount of space we did this night was straight up diabolical. It was disgusting, and we did it all night long. But I think the most criminal part about the game was the horrendous Charlotte Hornet jerseys that they decided to wear this
The
past
sumptuous
Thursday night. the Sunkist jerseys, the court was fire. I'm gonna hand it to them. The jerseys was probably one of the ugliest things
I
I've
didn't like the
ever
jersey that
seen.
much, honestly. Well,
I
I didn't
hated the
like them that
jerseys.
much.
I hated the
I
jerseys.
only him. I mean, yes, they're bad, but I mean, like, yes, they're bad, but I don't like hate them as much as y'all do.
I hate them.
I
I
put
didn't
them
even
up
like.
there.
I
I
know
put
I'm
them
in the
up.
minority, but I didn't even like the court that much either.
No, the court was fire. That's a criminal thing. The court was clean, but
Was it again?
I put those jerseys up there with the Bumblebee jerseys that the Pittsburgh Steelers have, or the prisoner jerseys, whatever you want to call them. And if you know, you know. But in terms of the Atlanta Hawks, I'm almost hesitant to say that this was a good offensive game for the Atlanta Hawks. I know you might be appalled by that because we dropped 126 and we attacked inside very well, got a decent amount of fast break points. 3-point shooting was a little inconsistent. There are times where it was great, times where it wasn't. But the reason why I say it was, I don't think it's that good, is because it was really just Jalen Johnson and Nikhil Alexander-Walker. Other than them two, everybody else really contributed none. And to be honest, Jalen Johnson, I mean, yeah, he was great offensively, but the only times the Atlanta Hawks seemed to get anything going in the game was when Nikhil Alexander-Walker was on the court. He did it in the first quarter when the Hawks got off to a really slow start. He hit 3 straight threes that got the Hawks right back in it. Late down the stretch when the Hornets got up by, I think they were up by as much as 24 at one point. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was the largest lead of the night. It was Nikhil Alexander-Walker late in the game that brought the Hawks on a huge 12-1 run that eased them back in it and eventually had a chance to take the lead late down the stretch. And the evidence is in the plus minus. Y'all know on this podcast, it's one of my favorite things to look at because it shows how much they contributed to both offensively and defensively. Nikhil Alexander-Walker's plus minus was positive 20-30. Practically everybody else was in the negative. And
Yeah,
it's all about momentum. Nikhil Alexander-Walker was like flint and steel to the Hawks team Thursday night. Knew how to spark momentum. He carried his own. He was the one that got efficient offensive ball movement. He was great at closing out from beyond the arc, especially in the corner where the Hornets were just lethal. Nah made a great effort at closing out where the other Hawks players just didn't. And it seemed like he was the only one Thursday night that contributed offensively and defensively. Shout out to Congo, like Joyner said, getting 3 steals. He had a lot of huge steals there. So that's why I don't want to say it was a good offensive game. I think it was actually very shaky, and the only reason we got 126 was because Jalen Johnson and Alexander Walker just combined for like 70 plus points.
yeah, and we do have to get rolling. So let's try not spend too much time on one game because I don't want this episode to overlap.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll get there.
so
I mean, everything else was in pudding. I really compared this game to the Atlanta Hawks' first trip to Washington, the first time we played the Wizards, when C.J. McCollum, helped me out, that white guy for the Wizards. I can't ever remember his name. Andrew, we were just talking about him the other day.
Yeah, no, I can't remember his name. I know who you're talking about though.
But it was that night when it seemed like no matter how we defend the 3-point line, they were just lights out. There's nothing we could do about it, and it buried the Hawks in various points of the games. It was a mirror image Thursday night. We all know Charlotte's a freaky place. It's like Alabama's equivalent to going to Jordan Hare. It's just freaky stuff happened there, and it was another one of those instances. And it's something we can't shake. It's a chip on the shoulder we can't flick off. But Hawks do have another trip to Charlotte eventually. Hopefully, our team is more well gelled, especially defensively, and that game will be a better outcome. But hey, only time can tell.
yeah.
Yeah.
So getting into this Spurs game.
Well, I just didn't want to interrupt Chase, but he kept talking. I didn't want to interrupt him. I just want to leave it at this point right here because I think it is important that we talk a little bit more about Trae Young since it was his return, which is why I didn't want you to go on for so long, Chase, because there's a lot to get into in all these games, and I just don't want this to overlap. But I think Trae Young, you look at this because this was very important that the Hawks got Trae Young back, but you could tell very quickly that it wasn't peak Trae, and that is okay because he was on minute restriction. He pulled up 8 points in 10 minutes. John, you mentioned it. He came off that MCL sprain, and you could tell the burst and that confidence that Trae Young normally attacks with wasn't ever fully there. And that's why Charlotte was able to load up defensively without having to fear, hey, about Trae Young's real scoring pressure. And you can tell that his lack, it's not like he had a lack of effort. It was more like a lack of timing and rhythm, which is fine because he's been out for a while. But, y'all guys talked about it. And I think there's one thing that encouraged the Hawks about what they saw from Trae Young alongside Jalen Johnson's monster performance is that Trae had playmaking. That playmaking ability was still there because even in those limited minutes, he was able to control tempo. He was able to find those open shooters, and it showed that he has a lot of trust in his teammates. And that's why the assists were there. And once the legs and that confidence really start churning for Trae Young, that scoring's going to follow. And that's exactly what we saw in the Bulls game that we'll get into here in a minute.
Another thing we talked about is there's a lot of shots that Trae Young usually would have taken that he didn't. Shots that would have been momentum killers, and that's a part of a game he's eliminated since he's been back. And I think it's been a huge improvement. I think we can all agree on that because we don't have those momentum killing shots anymore that Trae usually would have taken.
So, getting into the next game, the Spurs game, that was just stinky all around. Surprisingly, when Victor Wembanyama came off the bench, but he's 7'5". What are you gonna do against that? The answer is nothing. He dropped off the bench 26 points, 12 rebounds, and one block. I thought he. Oh no, 2 blocks. But yeah. So when you're winning scores off the bench, that's always gonna be trouble. But I mean, like this Hawks team was quiet as well. Like Vic didn't have the best game. Vic didn't have his best game. He only had 2 points, 1 for 5 from the field. Dyson finished with 11 points, 0 for 5 from three. Nikhil Alexander-Walker with a bad shooting performance, 2 for 10 from three, 23 points. Jalen Johnson finished with 17 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. Zachary finished with 11 points. Aneka had 7 points. And then Luke Kennard finished with 10 points. So yeah, just a very bad game. I'll let y'all get into it.
We were out doing something this night. I can't remember what it was. I kind of kept my eye on the game. I didn't catch a lot of
yeah,
it.
yeah. So y'all were out. I forgot.
So I didn't really watch much of the game. I kept my eye on it, but like you mentioned, John, not that there was a lot to see. The only thing I can really write down about this game is that as much as I love the Peachtree jerseys, well, you might never wear them again because we're 0-3, and every time we've wore the Peachtree jerseys, we've just had awful performances. Except the Detroit game. I guess that wasn't awful, but it wasn't great.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. But the main factor is we were missing our 7'3" guy, and that's never a good thing.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And we could have really used Kristaps, like you mentioned, John, when Wimby, had his typical night, 26 points. It was his fourth game coming back. He missed about a 12-game span. He was coming off the bench, in the NBA Cup play and including the game against Atlanta. He did come off the bench, right?
who Wemby?
Wimby,
Yeah, he
or
did.
did
He
he
did come off
start? Okay, I
the bench.
thought so. Which he had 12 rebounds, 3 assists, a block, and a steal to his 26 games. It was his first double-double since November 14th. So even though he's coming off the bench, Wemby's still having the same aspect on the court. But I think this stat right here says it all. This, NBA games, they're quick math here. They're 48 minutes. The NBA games are 48 minutes. The Spurs led for 47 minutes and 27 seconds. The Hawks had the lead for 33 seconds the entire game, which that just points and shows you that the Spurs led the Spurs had control the entire of the game from start to finish. And it was just, I like you mentioned, Trae, he had a little bit of tension in his knee, which kept him sidelined. Even though he came back against Charlotte, had a 20 minutes there. They decided to sideline him against the Spurs. So that just to ease his MCL sprain. So that was, already lost there. No Kristaps to help defend Wembenyama. And it was just no consistency offensively. I mean, I know this. We already knew the Spurs were going to be a tough bull to handle in terms of their scoring, because of how many mismatches were all across the court. But the Hawks had no answer offensively that could even counter that. I mean, like you said, Nikhil Alexander-Walker had 23 points and going back to the starting lineup, though Andrew mentioned he did have starting minutes in that Charlotte game pretty much. Went 7 for 9, but he did miss 50% of the free throws that he took. He went no, I'm sorry, other way around. He went 7-9 from the free throw line, 7 for 18 on the field, so shot 50%. Jalen Johnson, career high 43 points in Charlotte, came back, had 17 points, 11 rebounds. Didn't get his another triple double to his name, but did get his 18th double double this season, and he accomplished that in the third quarter. But outside of that, I think the only thing that can pertain to this dude is just consistent mismatch. I mean, just no Kristaps to defend Wemby, no Trae Young to get ball movement on the offense, and there's just nothing the Atlanta Hawks to do to maintain control. Not to mention the recurring issue of no perimeter defense once again. Shout out to my boy Den Vassell, Florida State graduate, who had a really great night shooting beyond the arc. You're welcome for leaving you wide open all night. That's what happens when you play Atlanta.
No, Chase, I'll tell you exactly what happened in this game. I mean, I think you sugarcoated it way too much. This game was disgusting. It was awful.
That's what I said. Whoa. I said how abysmal this game was.
No, I know. I'm just saying I think you sugarcoated way too much and what it needed to be. Listen, this is a fact of it right here. The Atlanta Hawks came to this game came into the season with championship priorities. I mean, we're supposed to finish no less than top 4 in the Eastern Conference with the
I would say top 5.
I give it top 5.
Hold on, Chase, shut up. With the team that we acquired in the offseason. But look, it's the same thing. Like, yeah, I know Trae Young had the MCL tear. Can't do anything about that. It's an unfortunate play. We know Kristaps isn't there. Kristaps has never been there. He might as well not even be part of the team in the first place, which, again, he can't help it, which is what makes the season so frustrating. But the thing is, you look at the Hawks going to this game. This game kicked off a 5-game homestand, and you can't start off being so freaking lifeless. I mean, 126-98 to San Antonio. Yes, they're a good team, but this game was essentially over at halftime. They controlled the game from the opening tip.
It was over after the tip.
Like Chase said, they led for pretty much the entire game and cruising the rest of the way. And it was a balanced attack by Victor Wembanyama. But when you're Quinn Snyder, you have to game plan better than that. I mean, we talk about so much in this episode. This team had no energy, no urgency, no pushback, and the most alarming part of this entire loss wasn't even the lopsided score. It was just the lack of resistance. I mean, San Antonio, they led 68-44 at halftime, and then that lead ballooned to 102-72 after the third quarter. And that's why the Spurs didn't have to play their starters in the first quarter. And the Atlanta, they never ever in this game ever delivered some kind of counterpunch to what the Spurs were doing. There's no run, no emotional swing, and there was no stretch at all in this game where the Spurs looked uncomfortable. And for a team opening up a 5-game homestand and trying to gain some kind of traction in this month of December,
hey, shout out to our mom. She just walked in.
That has been so awful. That is flat out unacceptable. It is unacceptable. Atlanta had no answer to Wemby's lean. There's no attacking the rim, no altering his shots offensively. There's no cleaning the glass. And the Hawks failed to make him look uncomfortable early. And once he already settled in, the Spurs never looked back. And I think this is where it goes to show that the Hawks being shorthanded got really exposed in this game. Because y'all said it. We missed the key pieces. Trae was rested as part of his return plan. Kristaps, again, out with that illness. And that creates offensive limitations and rim protecting, and they suffer from our lack of spacing. And without that Trae Young gravity and that Porzingis interior presence, the Hawks struggled to really generate any easy looks and protect the paint at any point. And that's why the defensive breakdowns were systematic. And if there was any thing nice to say about this is what you said, Chase, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He continued to make most of his opportunities. He dominated from the free throw line, 23 points, led our team in scoring. He continued to be poised and aggressive. Jalen Johnson continue to show consistency, coming off another double-double, 17 points and 11 rebounds. And he set the tone early for the Hawks. He had 13 of his 17 points in the first quarter. And he still remained a little bit productive despite not getting his hand into the game as much. And to me, this game just shows that the Hawks had no structure, they had no availability, and we just were not ready to perform in this game. That's the flat line.
And I like you mentioned, Andrew, kind of add to your point, the Hawks were just like given knowing what our issues were just all season long, and then adding them to what we're going to have to face against San Antonio, what we were missing in Kristaps and Trae Young, we were doomed from the start. I mean, rebounding. We talked about all season long how horrific this team is rebounding, especially defensive rebounds, where we give up a lot of second chance points. And even when the Hawks had those stints where we did play pretty good inside defense and contested shots well and forced a miss, there was no chance of us getting a rebound because we were just outboxed and outmatched physically, and it was just a struggle all night long. So it's just even on the stops we did get, the Spurs were turning into second chance opportunities, and they get the points regardless. It was just Achilles' heel. The Hawks really had no bandage for it because of what we were missing and what the Spurs were gaining. And it's just one of those things that you were given what you got, and you had to somehow make it work. And that's a hard puzzle to put together. And hopefully, upcoming when the Hawks play the Spurs in any other circumstance, that they are better circumstances and we don't have to play with, so many broken ligaments. We can, so it's just one of those things that it is what it is.
Yeah.
These are the cards we were dealt, and just a hard thing to handle. But Andrew, I thought we were cool, man. I feel like a Neke Kongwu. Like, you're like LaMelo Ball. It's like we were high school buddies, man. We grew up together. And it's like anytime you drain a three in my face, you're like pointing guns at me, bro. What's this about?
What are you talking about?
Pointing guns.
That's John Morant's thing.
That's what Melo did. When he hit that game win three, I don't think it was a gun. He kind of pulled him, went like this. He was like, whatever that celebration was.
But yeah. So the last game we gotta talk about is a game that y'all were live in person.
Oh, brother!
See, I was busy celebrating my mom's birthday yesterday. So
shout out Joyner's mom.
Hey, he wouldn't be here without her.
Yeah, quite literally, yeah. Yeah. Why don't you just take it away? I mean, like, what happened? Like, how was the first of all, how was the atmosphere being back in State Farm for the first time in a while?
It was good, It was a Sunday afternoon game. It was tip off at 3:30. So I feel like for a Sunday afternoon game, the crowd was pretty good. It wasn't at full capacity because, like I said, it was a Sunday afternoon. But I feel like the crowd was still great. Something about every time Chicago comes to Atlanta, there is always a lot of Chicago fans. I don't know if there's just a lot of people from Chicago living in Atlanta.
That's Chicago fans in general. They're one of the best traveling teams in the league.
There's a lot of Chicago fans there for sure, which to me I find a little bit annoying, but a little bit fun at the same time, because when the Hawks are doing good and we are winning the game, I get to banter all these Chicago fans, but then it flips there's another side to that coin, because when the Bulls are taking control and the Bulls are winning the game, they do the same thing to us, and that gets a little annoying. But I can't hate, because it's just fan banter. It's just it's what makes games fun. But yeah, it was fun being here. I feel like overall the atmosphere was fantastic. Everybody prepping up for the holidays. We ran into some pretty cool people, even some really cool Chicago Bull fans. So shout out to those guys. This game, you look at the score and you're like 152-150. Good Lord, that must have been an incredible 3 overtime banger. But little do you know,
basketball.
That is your regulation. That's your regulation score right now. This whole game felt like a track meet. I mean, it was the highest scoring game in the NBA this season, obviously, and a loss that perfectly exemplifies the Hawks' biggest issue right now. They can score with anyone, but they can't get a stop when it matters. I mean, Chicago, they outlasted Atlanta in the first of the 2 straight games at State Farm Arena because we play them again tomorrow, which Chase and I will also be at, setting season highs in
Yeah.
both the first half. 83 points. They scored 83 points in the first half, which, in case you're curious, is a Chicago Bull franchise record. And they had 9 Bulls reach double figures, which I feel like that always happens when the Bulls play the Atlanta Hawks. It's just a big team effort for the Atlanta Hawks. But here's
Just real quick. The reason why they're going to both Bulls games is because they have a buddy that they go with. Um.
Shout out,
Bulls
shout out,
fan.
Scary Terry.
Always a Bulls fan for some reason. But like, why is he a Bulls fan? I didn't mean to ask him. Like, he's from Chicago, or is he?
No, he's actually from New York, or I don't know if his parents are from New York. I actually don't. He was born in Georgia, but his parents are from New York. So as far as I understand, his parents were New York fans before his dad tragically passed away. But he started as just an NBA fan, like he was just a big NBA fan, and then he fell in love with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's favorite player of all time.
It was Derrick Rose that made him a
Well,
Bulls fan.
first it was Michael. No, I'm just talking about like when he's first getting into basketball. He was a big Michael Jordan fan. So then he started watching Bulls games because of Michael Jordan, and that's when he fell in love with Derrick Rose. He's like, hold up, I mess with this. So he's like, hold. And so I mean, that's his reason for choosing the team. But he's sticked in true and through. I mean, the Bulls have been in the rough patch the past couple of years, but he stayed true. So he's a Louisville fan.
More like a past century.
He's a Louisville Chicago fan.
Past decade, they've been like mid.
Yeah, so they're right there in the mid department. I mean, literally after the Hawks lost the game, we were running into a bunch of Bull fans, and we were just saying saying hi to each other, saying we'll see you in the playing tournament. We'll see you in the playing, man. We know our place.
This Hawks and Bulls playing rematch is about to feed families. If it goes anyway,
we know our place in this league.
I didn't hear what you said, Chase. You cut out.
Oh, I thought you were frozen. You were so still. I thought you were frozen. I was waiting for you to come back. That was weird. You're standing so still. But yeah, I was saying we know our place in the league. I want to get a big shout out.
Hold on. I didn't even get to finish what I was saying. We had to take an intermission so we understood why we went to these Hawks and Bulls games.
Oh yeah, no,
my bad.
That's my fault.
No, it's not your fault, Jordan. I completely understand. I should have thrown that in there about our buddy Terry. That's why we go to all these Hawks and Bulls games. But yeah, nice try, Diddy. So looking at this game right
What
here.
What is going on? Andrew hates me. I swear he does.
You don't know the nice try Diddy trend? I was making it a trend. You don't know about the nice try Diddy trend?
I don't associate with Diddy like you do. I'm sorry.
You're just uncultured. So looking at this game, anybody who didn't watch this game but might have looked at it, you just look at it and you're like, hey, defense was optional. That's pretty much what overtime's caption was, sideline sources caption was. Defense was optional in this game. Giving up 152 points in regulation is alarming. And look, both teams shot the ball lights out. Ball pressure, very inconsistent. Help defense was late or just straight up non-existent. And transition defense for both teams was a complete disaster. And like I said, the Bulls scored 83 points in the first half, but the Hawks were right there with them. I mean, there was never really a point in this game, maybe at the start and maybe towards the end of the first half did the Bulls pull away a little bit. But Atlanta, we schematically kind of found our way to stick with them, and because the Bulls kind of had the same lackluster defense that the Hawks did. Let me tell you this, though. Something that I really don't like that the Hawks allow to happen this game is letting the Bulls role players absolutely torch us. Let me tell you, Montez had the game of his life.
Are you calling Montez a role player?
I mean, he is a role player that's what he is on the Bulls. He is a role player. I mean, obviously he's got
a little more of that. Montez is going to be a key piece of this Bulls' future.
Well, obviously he's got star potential, but the dude's a rookie, so yeah, he's a role player. But
that's disrespectful.
Okay. He had 28
Who?
points. He shot seven.
Monte, he's calling Monte a role player.
Yeah, that's what he is. He's off the bench. He's a role player
No,
on
he's
the
not.
bench.
He's a starter.
Well,
He's a
he is.
starter, buddy.
He started in this game, but for most of the season, he's a role player. But
Actually,
yeah,
No.
Ayo didn't play in this game, so he took his spot on the starting roster. But yeah. So, but I mean, he's got star potential, but it's not disrespectful calling him a role player. That's literally what he is. But he had career
I gotta find
highs.
this out. I genuinely do not believe that.
I
Let's crap on you, Andrew. I genuinely thought he was a starter.
I mean, he's been a starter lately, but that's because the Bulls have had several injuries. But anyways, just so I can get back on track. He
Yeah.
had 28 points and he shot 7 for 8 from 3, which is career highs across the board, both on points and on 3-pointers. And when a rookie or a role player gets that comfortable, that's how you know there's a defensive failure on one end, because it's not going to be labeled as just one of those nights. Because then you add in Kobe White's 21 points, Josh Giddey's 19-point double-double, and the other 7 Bulls that reached double figures. This was a team-wide defensive breakdown. And then the Hawks, we were dead written in the last 3 to 4 minutes of this game. And despite everything, the Hawks had a chance to seal the game because of some crazy shots from Trae Young, Jalen Johnson, and some missed free throws from the Chicago Bulls players. Let me tell you, the Jalen Johnson 3 that he hit with about 8 seconds to go when he had 3 guys surrounding him, that brought the house down. And then you had the Bulls missing the first free throw after the intentional foul to keep it no more than a 2-point game. Listen, the crowd was energetic. I literally thought in that moment the Hawks were going to win that game and do the unthinkable. But Trae Young had his final look, and look, he missed. He missed. You could argue. People were arguing that was a foul on Josh Giddey, although non-biasedly, I had to say it wasn't a foul on Josh Giddey. The Hawks didn't lose because of that last shot. But great teams close those games out earlier with stops, not with prayers. The Hawks managed to find themselves in that situation because of prayers, not because we were able to get those defensive stops. And that's what really bugged me about this game. But Chase, please get into the great game that Trae Young had. Can we say that Ice Trae is back? Because my goodness, was he fun to watch in that game.
And like we mentioned, we were talking about the Hornets game. One of the biggest, I think, upsides of what we've seen from Trae Young coming back so far is that he's a lot smarter with the shot selection. He's you can tell that from what Trae Young was before his injury to now, he's kind of learned that he needs to be more of a playmaker than a primary scorer, and that's what he's seeing gelled into in that Charlotte game and even last night.
Like, he's definitely. Yeah, he's definitely been like paying attention while like, sitting on that bench. Not trying to disrespect him like that.
No,
He's definitely been like watching Jalen Johnson, Dyson, and his guys go to work. So like,
you're absolutely right.
I'm definitely pleased with seeing how he's been sharing the ball and trying to steer away from being that more of a Steph Curry guy than a more of a Steve Nash kind of guy.
Absolutely, and I think that's very fair to say, John. I think that's smart. That is, he was paying attention. Like you're right. I think he was. That's very smart of him, and that's how he started the game back into a primary playmaker. First assist of the game, he megged a Bulls defender to an bounce pass to Big Go in the paint. That's how he opened the game, and that's throughout the night, especially at the very start. And it was about late in the second quarter when he started to get a lot more confident in his shooting, but he took very smart shots. They weren't momentum, contested, deep, unnecessary shots. They were smart, they were strategic, and they came off a good off-ball movement, good passing around the perimeter to where he was able to either get inside for a good mid-range or in-the-paint shot, or he created space beyond the perimeter where he was comfortable taking a very little contested shot. And he shot the ball well. He shot 7. He made 7 threes, 10 field goals in total, 35 points, 9 assists, and late down the stretch when the Bulls would start to take momentum because of how dominant they were beyond the arc. Andrew mentioned how great of a game Montes had. He didn't miss his first shot till at the start of the fourth quarter, and that was the only shot he missed. And it was a wide open 3. He just missed that shot by chance. And there were several shots that him and Kobe White and even Vucevic hit late down the stretch that seemed like dagger after dagger after dagger. And Trae Young played a great part in going on the other court.
He's frozen.
Yeah, he keeps cutting out my screen. I think it's because he's downstairs.
Oh.
Still hear me?
We can hear you now.
Yeah, now we can. Yeah.
Okay. I got a call. I got a spam call and it like kicked me out momentarily, but I'm back. But Trae Young played a really big role in, killing those momentum shots Chicago took and getting the Hawks back in position to get back in the game. And that's the old version Trae. That's the Trae we see grew up in Atlanta, the type of player we knew he could develop to be. And we love to see him, still having that dominant, first, second option type scoring, but at the same time doing it strategically and still primarily being the playmaker that he needs to be, especially with the team he has around him. And I also want to give a quick shout out to Vit Krivich coming off the bench. 6 threes, 20 points. He was hitting some insanely off-balance shots. I know I mentioned it in the previous episode. I'm going to mention it again. That is a part of his game that he's really translating to a more primary aspect. It's his off-balance, off the dribble, off the catch threes. And that's just the name of his game. Like, he'll take a lot of shots that you think are so off balance and so unnecessary that you think they're ridiculous, but then he makes them because that's his game. That's where he grew comfortable. Joyner mentioned it. That's hopefully what we think Luke Kennard will do eventually is find his place like Vit found his place and his role. He played it beautifully last night. He made a big impact on the Hawks, maintaining control or maintaining in reach of this game. And beautiful offensive night. I mean, you should never drop 150 and lose the game, but unfortunately, that's what happened.
If we could get Trae Young, Vic Krejci, and Olkinard like hitting consistent shot, like 3-point shots. Man, forget the splash rows. We got the splash triplets.
And I will say this. I'm glad you said that because here's the thing that I really liked about Trae Young. Because you got to remember, his minutes were still being managed in this game. I mean, he did there. In the second and fourth quarter, Quinn Snyder would keep him out. He'd play like the first 3 or 4 minutes of that quarter, and then Quinn Snyder would keep him out until the final 4 or 3 minutes of that same quarter. He was really honing in on Trae Young getting a lot of rest in between his playing minutes, but he still managed to look closer to himself. He had better bursts. He was way more confident in his shot selection. And you could see he contributed to that late game leadership. And you can just tell that the accumulation process, it's clearly progressing, even though those minutes are still being managed. But I think what this loss really means for the Atlanta Hawks and what the Hawks have to do moving forward is you cannot consistently win like this. Because, I mean, you said it, Chase. There should be no world you drop 150 points and still have to worry about losing. Better close out on shooters. That is key number one. That is something I better see the Hawks do again. I'll do better on Tuesday because, like you said, Chase, way too many open looks. Stronger on-ball pressure, especially because of the amount of tough layups they're able to make. I feel like we were just closing out those shots too late, and that's why most of their shooters, like Kobe White, for example, was still able to, and Josh Giddey, was still able to get a better look on the glass than what they really should have. Improved transition defense. We got real lazy moving back on defense. That's something that stayed consistent with this team. And just more communication when we're switching. I feel like if there's more communication on who needs to switch on these off-ball shooters would really lead to better or at least quicker closeout on their open shooters because the Hawks, they don't need to be elite defensively, but we can't remain this historically bad. And this is what I want to say about Quinn Snyder, and then I'll be done for this game. But this is what I talked about when I say that I don't like the way that Quinn Snyder's been rotating this team. Because the way Zachary Richese played in this game, I really didn't like how we held him for pretty much the entire fourth quarter. I feel like he would have been a huge defensive key piece for the Atlanta Hawks down the stretch like he was in the first half, for example. And I feel like Quinn Snyder, he has to be able to identify the certain combinations that can defend without fouling. We had a big problem with that in the second and fourth quarter. Protect the paint, especially since we pretty much have to accept the fact we're going to be without Kristaps Porzingis, and we have to force more turnovers. That is something that I also like the Quinn Snyder see, because even Dyson Daniels had trouble stripping the ball away in this game. Look, scoring lineups look great, but stopping lineups is what wins you game, and I feel like that's what Quinn Snyder needs to really figure out before tomorrow night.
Yeah,
But,
another massive factor that I think we haven't really mentioned was the lack of offensive help that Nickeil Alexander-Walker gave. 0 points in the first half, which is something I never thought we'd see Nickeil Alexander-Walker do. And there was one moment in the game, which is kind of funny to mention now, when we got a steal on the Bulls end, passed it out on Nickeil Alexander-Walker in transition, and he missed a wide open layup. And because he was so distraught in that wide open layup, it led to lazy transition defense that led to an open Bulls 3. So what could have been 2 points for us became 3 points for them. And if that never happened, if he just made his layup, we go to overtime. Just want to put that out there.
It was really funny because as soon as Nickeil Alexander-Walker got that steal, he had a chance to make it a 2-point game right before halftime. And I was in my seat. There's a lot of Bulls fans behind us. So I stood out of my seat. I turned around and looked those Bulls fans in the eye and be like, because I was already anticipating a nasty Nickeil Alexander-Walker windmill dunk or something. I looked those Bulls fans in the face and I turned around and I saw him get blocked by the rim. I dropped to the floor in embarrassment.
Andrew, never do that again, please.
My face was buried in the lap. My face was buried in the lap of our buddy Terry because I did not want to look. I did not want to look those Bulls fans in the eye. I could hear them laughing at me in the back, bro. I was so distraught.
And look,
this is why we don't.
Angie had another moment like that too, not taunting, but when the Hawks were about to inbound for the game-winning or game-tying shot, Angie was just ranting about something. I can't remember what it was, and the jumbotron pointed to us. So I was looking at the
how bad our defense was.
I was on the jumbotron getting hype, and Angie was just looking at Terry screaming about how bad our defense was. Yeah, we were on the jumbotron. Well, we were. I was the only one paying attention because Angie was.
That's awesome.
The jumbotron.
That's sick.
Yeah, it showed Chase on the jumbotron getting hype, and I'm literally looking at him. My face is blood red because I'm screaming about how terrible the defense was tonight. And yeah, that was kind of funny.
Hey, the last thing I want to say is a little thing that Quinn Snyder mentioned about Trae Young. The reason he didn't play the game was because he wanted
Chase, you keep cutting out.
Yeah, Chase, you're cutting out.
We can't really hear what you're saying. You keep cutting out.
Trae Young didn't play in that.
Can't hear you, bro. I don't know what's going on with your Wi-Fi, but you're like completely lagged out now.
You can't hear me at all?
We can, but it keeps cutting out like pretty much every single sentence.
All right. Well, just let me try to get it out. If it happens, it happens. So the reason that Trae Young didn't play in the Spurs game is Quinn Snyder mentioned he wants Trae Young to play an acclimation or continue an acclimation process and to be ready to play back-to-back games. So Quinn's not going to allow Trae Young to play back-to-back games until his MCL gets a little more healthy. But obviously he'll play tomorrow because there's a day break. But there's times when you have 2 games in 2 straight days. Trae Young's not going to play back-to-back games unless he sees that MCL tear get a little more healthy. So that's something to kind of keep an eye on and expect in terms of Trae Young. So
which makes sense.
Keep that in mind.
I completely get that. That makes sense.
Yeah. But do you have any closing remarks? Or
I'm all good, man. I think this is
not from law.
Well, thank you guys again for joining us for episode 59 of Talking ATL Hawks. Hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. Hopefully you guys get everything you want from Santa Claus. Hopefully,
just win games, man. Just win games this week.
Hopefully the Hawks can get a good win tomorrow, and I believe
the day after Christmas, I think is when we play again.
On the 26th and the 29th.
We had
Yep.
3 more home games in this
Yeah.
year. We had 3 more home games in the year of 2025. Just give
Yeah.
me a win, man. Just win out. Win
Yeah,
out. Win out the rest of the home
only
games.
one for Christmas is a Hawks 3-game winning streak.
Amen.
Th-
Amen.
This was this was our last home game of 2025, Andrew. We're on the road the rest of the month after Tuesday.
I thought we had 3 more. I thought the Spurs was the start of a 5-game homestand.
We play at the Heat, at the Knicks, at the Thunder, then at the T-Wolves to end the month.
No.
No, it's
The
at
Hawks
home
is at
against the
home.
Heat and at home against the
Oh
Knicks.
no, you're right. Yeah, I'm
The
sorry,
Hawks
I
is
was
at
reading that
home.
wrong.
I was going to say, I was like 100% sure that Spurs game sparked a 5-game homestand.
So Chase, Chase, when we were looking on the ESPN app, the bottom team is the home team. So like,
I was looking at the I'm on NBA.com and I'm on NBA.com and they had it like
right, the bottom team is the home team.
oh yeah, I had it on NBA.com, so it's formatted a little differently and it just looks weird. And I wasn't looking at the verses in the ad. I was looking who was on the right and who was on the left. But that's not how the NBA.com does it.
Andrew is right. We have a 3-game homestand against the Bulls again. The Heat, then the Knicks. Then we go to OKC on Monday next week, and then we put the Timberwolves at 3 p.m. For New Year's afternoon.
Indeed.
Eve afternoon, But anyways, again, thank you guys for tuning into this episode of Talking ATL Hawks. We will see you guys next Sunday. I'm sorry. Cool.